"Look out! Gun!" The scream echoed through the hospital parking lot late at night. Young nurse Eliza Carson, 27 years old, was leaving her shift when she saw a man collapse, blood everywhere. Without thinking, she rushed forward, using her body as a shield. A bullet struck her shoulder, sending her crashing down beside the stranger. She had no idea who this man was, and she never imagined. He was a Marine commander. Type 1 if you've ever chosen what's right without needing a reason. Zrania Eliza Carson had always been different from other people. While most 27-year-olds were focused on their careers and social lives, Eliza spent her days saving lives in the emergency room of San Leon General Hospital in Texas. She came from nothing. Her mother had died when she was 12, leaving her to be raised by her father, a quiet Vietnam veteran who worked construction during the day and battled his own demons at night. Despite their struggles, her father had taught her one lesson that shaped everything about who she became. You don't need to be somebody important, sweetheart. You just need to be the right person at the right time. Those words echoed in her mind every day as she worked double shifts to pay off her nursing school loans and support herself in the small apartment she called home. On this particular Tuesday night, Eliza's shift had run late. A car accident had brought in 3 casualties, and she had stayed 2 hours past her scheduled time to help stabilize the patients. It was nearly 9 p.m. when she finally gathered her things and headed to the parking lot. The rain was just beginning to fall, creating a fine mist that made the streetlights look like halos in the darkness. Eliza pulled her jacket tighter around her shoulders and quickened her pace toward her beat-up Honda Civic. That's when she saw him. A man in his 40s, wearing a worn military jacket, had collapsed near the entrance to the parking garage. He was conscious but clearly injured, blood seeping through his shirt. What struck Eliza most was that despite being in obvious pain, he was trying to wave people away, as if he didn't want help. Several people had walked past him without stopping. A couple had pulled out their phones, but no one was actually helping. Eliza's nursing instincts kicked in immediately. She could see from 50 feet away that the man was going into shock. His skin was pale, his breathing was rapid and shallow, and he was losing blood fast. She was halfway to her car when she heard the sound of an engine approaching rapidly. A black SUV with tinted windows was speeding through the parking lot, heading directly toward the injured man. In that split second, Eliza faced a choice that would change her life forever. She could keep walking to her car, get in, and drive home to her small apartment where she would eat leftover pizza and watch Netflix until she fell asleep on her couch. Or she could do what her father had taught her to do. Be the right person at the right time. The SUV's window rolled down. Eliza didn't think. She just acted. "Call 911!" she screamed to anyone who could hear her, then sprinted toward the injured man. She reached him just as the first gunshot rang out. The bullet meant for him found her instead, tearing through her shoulder and spinning her around before she collapsed next to the stranger she had tried to save. As darkness closed in around her, Eliza's last conscious thought was simple. I hope he makes it. If you believe that good people deserve to be remembered, stay here with us. Eliza woke up the next morning in a hospital bed, her shoulder wrapped in bandages. Dr. Martinez came to check on her. You're lucky to be alive, he said. The bullet missed your major arteries by less than an inch. What about the man I tried to help? Eliza asked. Dr. Martinez paused. What man? The injured man in the parking lot. I ran to help him when the shooting started. Eliza, the police report shows you were the only victim found. There was no other injured person. This made no sense. She clearly remembered the man, his pale face, the blood on his military jacket. That's impossible. I saw him. I was trying to help him when I got shot. Dr. Martinez looked uncomfortable. The police think it was a mugging gone wrong. Maybe the trauma is affecting your memory. But Eliza knew what she had seen. Later that day, her colleagues came to visit. I heard it was gang-related, whispered Janet, an ICU nurse. The guy you tried to help was probably some kind of criminal. Mike from the trauma unit shook his head. Word is he was a drug dealer. Eliza, you took a bullet for someone who probably deserved what he got. These comments stung. Eliza had risked her life to save someone, and people were suggesting she had been foolish. You can't save everyone, Janet continued. Sometimes it's better to mind your own business. But Eliza couldn't accept that. Her father had taught her that helping people was never wrong. That evening, after visiting hours ended, Eliza found something that changed everything. A small envelope had been placed on her bedside table. She was certain it hadn't been there during the day. Inside was a handwritten note. "No one can know who I am, but I know who you are. Stay safe and remember, I owe you my life. What you did in that parking lot saved more than just one person. You saved a mission that will protect countless others. Thank you for being exactly who you are when it mattered most." The note was signed, LT 4th Recon MRF. Eliza stared at the cryptic signature. She didn't know much about military designations, but this wasn't from an ordinary soldier. The reference to a mission and the secrecy pointed to something significant. She thought back to the parking lot. The man had been wearing a military jacket, and despite being injured, he had tried to wave people away. Now she realized he might have been protecting others from getting involved in something dangerous. Over the next 2 days, Eliza noticed strange things. 2 men in casual clothes always seemed to be in the hallway outside her room. They looked like maintenance workers, but their posture suggested otherwise. When she asked nurses about them, she received vague answers about additional security measures. On her 3rd night, Eliza was awakened by soft voices in the hallway. Through her door, she saw one of the mysterious men speaking into a radio. "Target is secure. No unusual activity. Continuing surveillance." Target? Was she the target they were protecting? Near her bedside table, she noticed something else. A coin had been left there, old and worn, with a military insignia she didn't recognize. But somehow it felt familiar. She remembered seeing something similar in the parking lot, glinting in the light as the man fell. The next morning, a nurse she didn't recognize came to change her bandages. The woman worked silently, efficiently, but as she finished, she leaned close to Eliza's ear. "He's alive," she whispered, "and he's grateful." Before Eliza could respond, the nurse was gone. That night, as Eliza lay staring at the mysterious note and coin, she began to understand that her split-second decision had connected her to something much larger than herself. She had no idea what, but she knew one thing. The man she had saved was no ordinary victim. 24 hours later, tension was building around the hospital. Eliza had been scheduled for discharge that morning, but suddenly the paperwork was delayed. No one could give her a straight answer. The 2 mysterious men were still there, now joined by a 3rd person, a woman in scrubs who didn't belong to any department Eliza recognized. Something was about to happen. That evening, as she sat by her window looking out at the parking lot where everything had started, she heard a soft knock. A man in his 40s entered, wearing a military dress uniform with more ribbons than she had ever seen. "Miss Carson, my name is Colonel James Mitchell, United States Marine Corps. May I sit down?" Eliza nodded, her heart racing. "The man you saved 3 nights ago is Captain Nathan Cross, one of our most decorated special operations officers. He was returning from a classified mission when he was targeted by enemy operatives." Colonel Mitchell pulled out a folder. Captain Cross was carrying intelligence that could save hundreds of American lives overseas. When those operatives tried to eliminate him, you stepped in. You didn't just save his life. You saved a mission that has prevented 3 terrorist attacks in the past 72 hours. Eliza stared at him in disbelief. "I just saw someone who needed help." "Exactly," the colonel replied. "You saw a fellow human being in danger, and you acted without hesitation. That kind of courage is rarer than you think." He reached into his jacket and pulled out the coin she had found by her bedside. "This is Captain Cross's challenge coin. It's given only to Marines who have saved the lives of their brothers in arms. He wanted you to have it." Eliza took the coin with trembling hands. It was heavier than she expected. "Is he okay?" she asked quietly. "He's alive because of you. He's also been asking to see you, but given the classified nature of his work, we had to wait until his mission was complete." Colonel Mitchell stood up and walked to the window. "Miss Carson, what I'm about to tell you must remain confidential. Captain Cross isn't just grateful. His entire unit wants to express their gratitude." He turned back to face her. "Tomorrow morning, when you're discharged, there will be a small ceremony in the hospital's main lobby. Nothing official, nothing that will attract media attention. Just a few Marines who want to thank the civilian who saved their commanding officer." Eliza felt tears welling up. For 3 days she had been told she was foolish, reckless, that she had risked her life for nothing. Now she was learning that her decision had prevented terrorist attacks and saved hundreds of lives. "Colonel, I don't need a ceremony. I just need to know that he's safe." "He is safe, but we need you to know that your actions mattered. In a world where people often look the other way, you looked toward danger and ran to help. That deserves recognition." The colonel gathered his papers and prepared to leave, then paused at the door. "One more thing. The men who tried to kill Captain Cross have been apprehended. You're no longer in any danger, but we've had security watching you just to be certain." After he left, Eliza sat alone, holding the challenge coin and thinking about everything she had learned. Her father's words echoed in her mind. "You just need to be the right person at the right time." She had been exactly that. In a moment when everything could have gone wrong, when she could have chosen safety over service, she had chosen to help. That night, Eliza slept peacefully for the first time since the shooting. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but she knew she had made a difference. Sometimes the most important decisions happen in an instant. Sometimes being a hero means simply being human when it matters most. The next morning arrived with unexpected warmth. Eliza had packed her few belongings and was preparing to leave when Dr. Martinez appeared in her doorway with an unusual expression. "Eliza, before you go, there are some people who want to see you in the main lobby." As she walked slowly down the hospital corridors, her shoulder still tender, Eliza wondered what awaited her. The lobby had been unusually quiet all morning, with most of the usual foot traffic mysteriously absent. When the elevator doors opened, Eliza gasped. 12 Marines in full-dress blue uniforms stood in perfect formation in the center of the lobby. At their head was a man she recognized despite the bandages on his arm. Captain Nathan Cross. Hospital staff, patients, and visitors had gathered around the edges of the lobby, watching in respectful silence. Captain Cross stepped forward, his voice carrying clearly through the space. "Nurse Eliza Carson, 4 nights ago, you made a choice that changed everything. You saw a stranger in danger and chose to help, even though it meant putting yourself at risk." He paused, emotion evident in his voice. "You didn't know who I was. You didn't know what mission you were protecting. You just knew that someone needed help, and you acted." Captain Cross nodded to his men, and all 12 Marines snapped to attention in perfect unison. "On behalf of the United States Marine Corps and the countless lives your courage has protected, we salute you." 12 hands rose in perfect synchronization, rendering a crisp military salute to the young nurse who had risked everything for a stranger. The lobby erupted in spontaneous applause. Patients in wheelchairs clapped. Doctors and nurses wiped away tears. Even the security guards joined in. Captain Cross approached Eliza and handed her a folded American flag. "This flag flew over our base in Afghanistan. It's flown in places where your courage made a difference. We want you to have it." Eliza accepted the flag with trembling hands, overwhelmed by the honor. "I just did what anyone should do," she whispered. Captain Cross smiled. "That's exactly why you're a hero." As the Marines filed out, Eliza stood holding the flag, surrounded by the applause of everyone who had witnessed something extraordinary. Her father had been right. Sometimes you just need to be the right person at the right time. And Eliza Carson had been exactly that. Eliza Carson's story reminds us that heroism isn't about capes or superpowers. It's about seeing someone in need and choosing to help, even when it's dangerous. In a world where people often walk past suffering, Eliza ran toward it. She didn't know she was saving a mission or preventing terrorist attacks. She just knew someone needed help. Every day, ordinary people make extraordinary choices. Teachers who stay late, neighbors who check on the elderly, strangers who stop to help. Have you ever done something good without expecting recognition? Share your story below, because quiet courage deserves to be celebrated. Subscribe for more stories that remind us why everyday heroism still matters.